We come to Washington, ladies and gentlemen, on a dual purpose. On Thursday, our delegation will be attending the Ministerial to Advance Religious Freedom, and as a country that is a strong supporter of freedom of religion or belief and of the right of freedom of opinion and expression, New Zealand stands with all countries who share this foundation stone of freedom itself. Better and ultimately see the Pacific region and each other prosper. That tragedy, however, only reinforces our deeply held belief in religious tolerance and freedom. And so we come to Washington to listen and to share our experiences. We are especially admiring of the United States and the contribution two of its founding fathers made to the advancement of religious liberty and democratic freedoms. Strong as ever, we'd like to focus today on the economic grounds for advancing a bilateral. Religious freedom and pluralism are therefore two pillars of the foundations underpinning both United States and New Zealand-style democracy. One can also add a third and fourth pillar, namely respect for and protection of human rights and promoting and maintaining the rule of law itself. The United States' limited engagement in trade agreements in the Indo-Pacific is of real concern. Together, these strong foundations see our countries as two of only 9 that have held continuous democratic elections since 1854. Just 2 of 9 countries can make that claim. There is, of course, a fifth pillar that connects our two democracies. That is, the promotion of free and fair trade, which is our second purpose for coming to Washington on this journey. The Indo-Pacific region has benefited significantly from the US presence. New Zealand believes there exists compelling geopolitical and economic rationales for the United States leadership to shift gears by launching a bilateral trade agreement with New Zealand. Over the past 2 decades, the US-New Zealand relationship has only grown stronger, more dynamic and more vital through the establishment of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. However, one glaring gap remains in an otherwise exemplary bilateral relationship. We have not made the progress on a bilateral trade agreement that we should have, and New Zealand wants that to change. We earnestly hope the US shares that ambition for New Zealand's ability to play its part in promoting our shared values in our part of the world very much depends upon it. But if we're going to take countries from where they were to where we want them to be in the future, then we're going to have to make some fundamental investments. And the question becomes then, well, why would we bother do that? The answer is, well, have a good look, hard look at who's going to step in unless you do. Who will fill the void and who will fill the vacuum? Now, the great thing is that countries like Indonesia and Japan and others are beginning to have to see with greater clarity what's going on, and they have stretched out and reaching out to us for engagement. We just hope that Washington understands with greater clarity what's going on. Our second regional FTA with ASEAN, which also includes Eurofocus, or everywhere but the Pacific focus or obsession of Washington, still largely remains. And it needs to change because the biggest economic and military theatre in the world is the Pacific. So we need to look with fresh eyes at it. May I humbly suggest where the United States is concerned. Hong Kong, Chinese Taipei and Korea in 2011, 13